Hi, everyone. Welcome to our sixth AA podcast for the spring 2021 semester, the show where we explore the accounting world and more, one asset and liability at a time. My name is Teodric, and I'm here with Caroline and Lon Ann. We are very happy to have Brianna, AA's very own president, joining us today. We're going to be talking about a more general topic relevant to all college students and even people beyond that, which is none other than burnout. In this podcast, we will go over what burnout is, what causes it, why it is important to avoid it, and a few techniques you can implement into your everyday routine to help avoid it. We can all agree that burnout is a very serious problem for college students, especially in the virtual setting. But what exactly is burnout and what causes it? Some may feel the effects of burnout after a long week of prolonged stress, where constant demand to perform well in classes, Zoom fatigue, and other factors cause them to feel overwhelmed and lose motivation. Overall, we can say that burnout is something that occurs when you've been too stressed for too long, causing you to lose interest in work that you may have initially been excited to take on. And it can happen to any one of us, and I'm sure it has happened to a lot of us. So if you don't mind, Brianna, could you share a time in which you experienced burnout? What were some of the factors that caused it also?
I honestly think burnout in this setting is definitely hitting students harder than any usual in-person setting. I feel like it's been really traumatizing. We thought we were going on an extended 2-week spring break, and it turns out to be a whole year anniversary coming, I think, next week, actually. So I think that plays a lot on how this has been weighing on everyone. This is not what we were expecting for this long. And yeah, I think that honestly plays a big role in burnout. And then in the midst of everything going on in the past year, we had so many global issues, national issues. So people fall into certain communities or even allies to those communities. It's kind of hard to focus on school when you're dealing with a global pandemic and how some of those global national issues can be affecting your home and personal life. Trying to be updated and informed on those issues, then seeing the numbers rise for COVID plays a lot on your mental health. Plus, on top of everything going on, professors still expect you to be on your A game. So it's been rough. And I can say for at least myself that I've been experiencing burnout. Some last semester and honestly a little bit this semester, but trying to fight through it, remembering everyone is feeling the same way. So I'm not alone, thankfully, but it's been a lot, taking a lot of units, working from home, doing school from home, and trying to differentiate my workspace and then my home space. Being active and just working in between. At least for last semester, I quit my job now, but it's just like things like that. So yeah, burnout plays a lot. I just ultimately just want my family and loved ones to be safe, because in general, no one likes to be sick, even if it's a regular flu. So just trying to stay safe. And I feel like this year has been a lot with burnout, but yeah, been going.
Yeah, I highly agree. Thank you for sharing, Bri. I'm sure many can relate to these struggles to meet constant demand and the feeling of being overwhelmed. Lon, would you also like to share why you believe burnout can be so common and if you have experienced burnout before?
Yes, of course. One of my professors said that a full-time student is working for 2 jobs. Additionally, most of the college students are working and engaging in the clubs at the same time. So it is overwhelming for every single student, and that's why I believe burnout in college is so common. Other life events can also contribute to the burnout of one person, such as family troubles or financial issues. Different people from different backgrounds can have different causes of burnout. And for me, I experienced burnout several times. I am an international student and I came here along in 2017. When I was 18, at that time I couldn't speak English. Classes were so hard for me because I didn't understand my professors, so I had to read every single thing in the books. And so many other things happened to me that made me feel overloaded and burnt out. It was tough for me to adapt to the new environment. And I believe that everyone has different situations and we all experience burnout at some points in our life. So the important thing is that we have to overcome it.
Thank you for sharing your experience, Lon. And I highly agree that everyone has their own unique experiences and situations regarding burnout that they face in school. Moving on, now that we know what burnout is, what causes it, and how we have personally experienced it, We can see why it is so important that we do our best to avoid it. Though we may sometimes have trouble avoiding the stress that often comes with work and life itself, we can implement different techniques into our daily routines to help us manage our stress and avoid burnout. However, before we go over these tips, it's important that we understand how burnout affects us and why it's so important that we actually work to avoid it.
In this setting, it is so easy to start creating a negative mindset because you're experiencing so much. So much has changed, things or opportunities got taken away, and just nothing that we are used to at all. Burnout for me, I just wanted to give up, procrastinated on a lot, and not seeing purpose for much. It really affects you mentally, and then it transfers to your work habit. Sounds very depressing, but it's honestly just trying to find a light in an unknown tunnel.
Thanks for sharing, Bree. Lon, would you also like to point out how you've been affected by experiencing burnout before?
Yes, during the time I feel burnout, I start to lose hope and I do not believe in my ability anymore. I question myself with the thinking that I'm tired, should I stop? Or I am not good enough and I'm useless. So these thoughts pop up in my mind and make me feel bad for the whole day. Therefore, I could not do anything productively and it leads to the procrastination. Even though I know that procrastination is not good and that bad feeling keeps holding me down. I believe that many of us used to have the thinking that I just don't want to do it now. When you have a bunch of stuff that you need to be done, you feel overwhelmed and stressed out because your mind acknowledges that huge responsibility, but the rest of your body does not want to face it. The more that you delay, the more stressed that you feel, and it will ultimately lead to the point of burnout.
Thank you for sharing, Lon. It's very important to hear that everyone has had experiences with burnout. It's definitely a relief from an individual point of view to know that you're not the only one who experiences burnout and that there are others out there who share the same experience and understand how it feels. Remember, you're never alone. Moving on to the last topic for today, we will discuss different ways how students can avoid burnout and the stress that comes with it. I think the best way to avoid burnout in school is to plan ahead so you give yourself time for breaks. You can spend this time with friends and family or do something you enjoy that helps clear your mind. For me personally, I like to go on long walks and hikes with my friends and family. This helps me to take my mind off of school, work, and recruiting. I also make sure to spend time with my friends once or twice every other week because it really helps me get through every school semester. But once again, everyone's experience is different. So, Brianna, what are some tips or recommendations you have for avoiding burnout and stress in school? What do you typically do in your everyday life that helps you?
Yeah, Teardrick, I agree. Sometimes I just need to at least get out of my house, go on a hike or something, go on a walk outside to get some fresh air and at least change of scenery from just being in my house. But ultimately, for me to get out of my funk or out of my head, actually, I just kind of had to be like stern with myself and starting to change my mindset to a healthier kind of stream. Just knowing how I felt was validated, and I am entitled to have those feelings of being in a funk and everything, but not dwelling in that headspace too much. In this setting, it's hard to know when to stop working and actually giving yourself a space to breathe and away from your screen. Just give yourself some me time in things you enjoy and spending time in that and actually finding an outlet for yourself. Like for me, I thankfully have a backyard. So I was able to create a backyard gym and use that almost every day to focus on me. Another thing I try to do is when first waking up, just turn off my alarm and don't look at anything else for at least 10-15 minutes as I start getting up and starting my day. I used to wake up and just immediately go on Twitter or Instagram and just check my notifications for everything. And sometimes on those platforms you see negative things and it's like, oh, I start my day off looking at something negative or whatever the case may be. So at least by doing that, I start off my day with some clarity and hope that today will be a good day and it's kind of a new slate for me. Also, this isn't to say do all of these things and you won't have any more burnout, you won't have any more bad days. Bad days are going to happen, it's normal. At this time, I think first we should prioritize our mental health and honestly just be nice to ourselves, because I think we're really tough on ourselves. So it's kind of hard to give ourselves a break. Yeah, like giving yourself a break and actually acknowledging how you're feeling can help with burnout. In terms of being open and speaking up about how you feel, try to find an outlet in maybe someone who, of course, you ask if they can be your outlet so you don't overwhelm them. You can write in a journal, or even sometimes I don't feel comfortable reaching out to my family, friends, or boyfriend on certain topics. So I text like this mental health thing. I guess it's like a hotline. I don't even know the exact name, but it's like the number you text is like 741-741. And it's just you talk to a random person about how you're feeling. Like I talk to them about some of the anxiety I have and all of that. So it helps get some clarity, and it's like, okay, I'm not alone. Someone's listening. So if you ever need that, go for it. There's nothing to be ashamed of reaching for help, especially in this time. And I think kind of talking about it helps you not be so burned out all the time. Overall, we just need to be kind to ourselves and honestly be proud of ourselves, because going through all of this and still doing all that you're doing, like taking a full load, recruiting, or just anything really is a lot. So making it through, being resilient, and you should just be proud of yourself being in this situation. And to anyone listening who is going through a rough time, I send you a big virtual hug, and just know you are not alone. We'll be okay soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brianna. Those are some very useful tips for our viewers. Lon, would you also like to share tips which you think are effective in avoiding stress in school?
So as I described the process leading to burnout before, it is okay to feel overwhelmed at first, and it is okay to have the bad mood with the thinking, I just don't want to do it now. What you have to do when you realize these feelings is to relax and then try to kill those stresses and bad feelings. After many times experiencing burnout, I have come to a way to get myself back to normal. So first, I will stop doing all the work that I have because I know that I'm not being productive. And then I will choose a way to make me feel better. So the first method you can do is to talk to someone that can make you feel better, just as Teojik did. Talk to your friend, your family, anyone that you can share your stories. Second, you can do exercise, because exercising can help clear your mind. You will feel better after you sweat. For those who are introverted, lonely, and have no one to talk with, you can choose to watch a good movie. Watching a motivation movie is good, but for me, watching a very sad movie is even better because it can make me cry. Do you know that crying has a lot of benefits, including improving your moods? Enjoying a sad movie can also clear your mind and make you feel better. Some other methods that you can use are listening to a song and dance. You can take a drive to nowhere and thinking of the people that you love, saying to yourself that I have to keep going on because of these people, and I can do it. So I call it a self-motivation day because it is me trying to save myself from the black hole. Sometimes you cannot kill the helplessness and bad feelings within a short time. So all you have to do is to keep on fighting with it. Find things that make you happy. The more that you do, the more you will be able to control your feelings. After that, try to organize your work again. What needs to be done first and last, then get onto it. My recommendation is to have a big table. Categorize the work into groups, arrange them in the table, and deal with each of them based on their urgency. Each time that you remove a group of work from the table, you will feel motivated to move on to the next one. The same thing happens if you make a list and cross out things that you have done.
Thank you for sharing, Lon. Those are also some very useful tips to take into consideration for our viewers. Caroline, would you like to add on?
As we've mentioned, everyone kind of has their own way of dealing with stress and avoiding burnout. And if you're not sure where to start, some ways I found to avoid prolonged stress are to just implement little changes in your everyday routine that allow you to give yourself a break, even if it's just a small one. One method one of my professors uses to help us rest our eyes is the 20-20-20 rule. And basically every 20 minutes, she has a timer set and we stop and look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And this is just one way that I feel really helps take your eyes off the screen to avoid straining them for too long. And I think it's really nice that our professor kind of kept us in mind and implements this into her online lecture to help us out. Another technique I've heard of is the Pomodoro technique, where you work for 25 minutes and then give yourself a 5-minute break. And again, it doesn't sound like much, but it really adds up, and it helps by giving you a set time to step back from your work. And when you take a break, I think it's best to step away from all electronics so that you can give your eyes a rest and you can maybe get up and relieve the stress on your body from sitting down all day. In addition, these breaks just give you something to look forward to, which really, really helps. And you can always give yourself something to look forward to if you just reward yourself for even the little victories. All in all, just be sure to give yourself breaks, leave room for some fun, and reward yourself. You definitely deserve it.
Thank you, Caroline. I hope everyone has taken something from the points we've shared today. If anything, just know you're never alone. You can reach out to any one of us if you ever need someone to talk to. Now, as the podcast is coming to an end, I want to thank Brianna for joining us and Lon and Caroline again for sharing your personal experiences and giving our viewers tips on how to avoid burnout in school. To our viewers, please feel free to contact us with any questions at media@aacsun.org, or you can leave a comment down below. And don't forget to follow our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Instagram to hear more about the future events. We hope that you enjoyed today's podcast, and thank you so much for listening to us today.